If you guys don't know, Blueface is a rapper. I use that term loosely. But Blueface is a rapper now more famous for his relationship with his on and off girlfriend. Her name is Chrisean Rock. She's also an artist. She has a song out called It's a Vibe All the Time. It's a vibe all the time. And she has a missing tooth. So if you've seen that girl running around in the braids, beating up that guy, and the guy beating her up, that's Blueface and Chrisean. Thanks to Zeus Network, now they have their own reality show. So the hot mess is also on television. You could catch it on television. And that's where the hypocrisy lies, or does it? Now, Chris Brown has been on the presses, okay, the past couple days. First, Kylie from Cheetah Girls and 3LW said something about Chris Brown. Chris Brown clapped back because you know that's where everybody fights on social media. Chris Brown clapped back. All hell broke loose. Rihanna got thrown in the mix. Blueface and Chrisean got thrown in the mix, via Chris Brown. You know what I mean? We're going to discuss it. There are a lot of moving parts to this, and we're going to discuss it. Maybe the second hour we'll get into Sexy Saturday. We shall see. Because if you guys caught Freaky Friday last night, we had Mr. Justin on talking about BDSM and dominatrices and submissives and all of that. And it's always very juicy when Mr. Justin is on. He may pull up. I don't know. I can't promise you. Either way, you know we're going to keep it lit. So thank you for being here on Saturday night. Let me bring my people up. See what happens when I eat? I give you all this energy. Had I not eaten, I would have been sliding off to the side, okay? So thank you for being patient with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That always lovely and talented Lily from YB Limited. Hello. Yes, honey. That's what we do. We doing Platinum Blonde tonight?
Doing a little platinum today with a so my inspiration today was Gwen Stefani. So this is Gwen Stefani Blonde and Gwen Stefani Red.
You know what? I'm seeing, now that you say that, I'm seeing that video that I freaking love of hers. Do you know the one where she's like with the tea and her boyfriend moved on with another woman?
Yes. Oh God, I can't remember. Was that when she was still with No Doubt?
I don't think so.
Okay, it was by herself?
I think it was after. It was early her by herself. I love that song.
Yeah, because I
love that song. You see it, right? I'm like, when you said that, I was like, yes, that video. Let me bring up our baby, Brianne LaFay, new mommy. Hello, mama. How are you? I'm digging the Afro puffs. I used to do my daughter's hair like
that. Loving the puffs.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, we're all giving looks tonight, okay? I'm giving you all my Afro Latina, okay? I'm giving you all the Afro Latina with a little glam.
I'm loving it. And the blue is definitely popping.
Thank you, thank you.
I love a good royal blue or purple.
You know, it's hard for me to do colors, but I'm forcing myself, especially going into the summer. Let's bring up our resident whip cracker. Hello, Haran DeMarco.
Oh, I thought it was the overseer, but it was Haran.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't say the cracker. I said the whip cracker.
I would say about a different whip, not the good
whip, the bad whip. Oh, the bad whip. Okay. Hi, Haran.
Hey, sweetheart.
Haran is like, what the hell did I pull up on? You already know what we hitting for up here, okay? I had to eat because I'm like, if I don't eat prior to, I'm going to have to wait 2 hours to eat and I'm going to be hangry. And we don't want that past the 2 hour mark. We don't want me hangry past the 2 hour mark. So I was like, let me eat before. Okay. So hi guys. Good to see you on this Saturday night. I'm excited to talk about this. We need to talk about this.
Yes, we do.
We need to talk about this. All hell is breaking loose with Chris Brown. Remember, a couple streams ago, we talked about it briefly, how Chris Brown can't even fart because, he farts and it's like, you farted because you beat up Rihanna 17 years ago. Like he can't do anything without that being brought up. I think it's messed up. I'll pass the mic quickly. I just think it's messed up. But, Keely from it's 3LW, right? 3LW. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so lately she's been on the press too. I think Keely's to the point where it's like, controversy sells. So lately, Keely's been saying some really off the wall things, like she slept with all the members of B2K. So she's been saying things that has put her in the blogs, right? She's playing the game, right? good for her. If she doesn't feel like singing anymore, the blogs will keep you paid, as we learned with Brittany Renner.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany Renner, right?
Reiner or Renner?
Right, Renner. Okay. So, Keely's playing the game, whether the stuff she's talking about is real or not. The Shade Room and, World Star and all of them are going to, Hollywood Unlocked is going to post about it, right? She's playing the game. Anyway, so she took a shot at Chris Brown because Chris Brown just dropped a single with Chloe Bailey. We love Chloe Bailey, don't we? Just dropped a single with her. And Keely said something on Twitter, something, not verbatim, paraphrasing, something in the order of learn to, you need to make your own music instead of using a woman to put you on, you're still a woman beater. Basically paraphrasing. Now, it was a silly comment because Chris Brown is Chris Brown. Okay. He's breezy with or without anybody. He's well established in the game. Okay. But Keely's taking shots because what happened? Everybody talked about it when she said it. And Keely, she's gonna punch up, right? Because if she talks about someone under her, no one cares. But you throw a shot at Chris Brown, Chris Breezy is gonna clap back.
It was a read.
It was a read. That's what Breezy does. And then Breezy clap back. Right? And then it snowballed from there, and Rihanna got pulled back in. And I'm going to say something about Rihanna nobody's going to agree with, but I'm going to say something about her in a minute. So that's what's going on. So then Chris Brown brought up a bunch of white people who have gotten in the press for beating their wives. So Chris Brown did the whataboutism, right? He said, okay, yeah, I got into this fight with Rihanna, but what about them? And he posted like Sean Penn and posted a couple of white folks that also got into domestic violence, situations. Some people were like, oh, why are you posting them? Like, let it be on you, whatever. But Chris Brown was pointing out the hypocrisy. But the thing is now with social media, like you think you can be doing a good thing and it's literally like adding fuel to the fire. It's like, oh, I'm going to defend myself. And then people defend themselves and it's like, psh, it turns into, a 4-alarm fire. And you're like, oh shit, I thought this was going to be really cool if I showed them white people beat people too. It exploded. Then people said, why don't he bring up Chrisean and Blueface, who are constantly in the press for beating on each other, popping up with bruises, busted lips, missing teeth, and all of that. And then Blueface clapped back. So it's like a fire. It's like a fucking fire, and people just keep throwing fuel on it. The more people you mention, Blueface clapped back. Very interestingly, he was like, you beat the wrong bitch, referring to Rihanna. So Blueface was basically saying, don't get mad at me because you beat the wrong bitch. Like you beat the bitch that just did the Super Bowl. He said that verbatim, right? There's some truth in what he said, although the language is not nice. There's some truth to what he said. And I will pass the mic because I got more to say, but I don't want to hog up the mic. So ladies.
He also said, I hit the bitch that fights back. You hit the bitch that did the Super Bowl last week.
Ouch. Here we go.
Yeah. I needed to add that in there too.
Here we go. And I did see Chrisean Rock. I mean, I heard her in the background co-sign it and giggling and ha ha ha. But it's funny how Blueface spoke about her like Chrisean was a piece of shit. Like I picked the ghetto bitch. The one nobody cares about. You picked the one that just did the Super Bowl. And Chrisean Rock, because that child is so lost and so gutter, she thought it was a compliment.
Yeah.
Like she thought it was a compliment. Like, yeah, I'm the one that fights back. I'm the ghetto one. So yeah, it's cool. But again, I'll pass the mic because I got a lot to say.
And
I just
go ahead, Rob.
Oh no, you're gonna go ahead and wait for the ladies to go first because it's.
Oh no, good. No,
I really do want to hear what he has to say, but I'm gonna be real quick.
Okay.
And then Mama came in. Hold on, we gotta add Blueface Mama. Her ghetto butt came up in there because she's just so. She makes everything really make more sense. Really, like
right.
when she came in, you're like, yeah, I can see how we got here. But there's a lot here. And I had this conversation with someone earlier. Mm-hmm. As someone who has a past, a hell of a past, right? Mm-hmm. I personally do not feel right holding this against this man. How many years later? It's been 17 years, right?
Yeah, he was 17, I believe, when it happened, right?
Yes, he was 17, and I believe it's been 17 years because they're 34. All right. So, quick poll. How many of us on the panel and on the chat are the same person as we were at 17? Okay.
Definitely not.
Okay.
No. I'd be in prison if I was the same person I was at 17.
Hello.
I'll be dead.
I'd just be getting out, but I digress.
Right. Well, I actually did go. So that, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, I live in a glass house. Mm-hmm. And I got a feeling I'm not the only one that lives in a glass house. Mm-hmm. So people are like throwing these stones or whatever, right? And Keely is the main one throwing stones when she was throwing 2-piece chicken meals at the dark-skinned group member. Okay. But she want to be the first one to come out. So what the tea is with her, what I suspect, I believe that they're going on season 2 of a show called Encore that she was on season 1.
Now it all makes sense. Okay, now I know why she's saying this off the wall shit. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. So now that's why it's all, I was like, because Keely, she is a mess. She's always been a mess. You know something's wrong when none of your group members that you've ever done projects with mess with you. No one speaks about her in a favorable light ever. So yeah, that's so you throwing 2-piece meals. You fought Notori Holton. That's that's on Power. She fought her through the thing. So it's like all of these people, everyone who has something to say is not the right messenger if you want to have this message. But even if you are the quote unquote right messenger, I don't want to hear it. I really don't at this point about this man. Like, come on, he's done some other stuff. So let's give him that. But this one thing that you keep holding, and the other thing is, if Rihanna forgave him, why are we still holding a grudge against him? I pass.
Brienne.
Hello. I was just listening to everyone, and I think when it comes to these instances of mutual combat, which I believe they both are mutual combat, the onus should be on both of them. I always see one side being more demonized, and it's always the male. So I also agree, if the party who essentially people were saying was victimized, which I don't believe she was, I believe it was mutual. If they can forgive, everyone else should forgive and move on, because the main point, of having these people like in the media, like I've listened to both their music, I've supported them in separate ways, and the focus should be on what they're doing, because no one's perfect. So that's really what I wanted to add. And I think there should be a statute of limitations when someone essentially messes up, especially when you're a teenager. And then he actually gave more background to what he saw growing up. If he's learned and been through all of the counseling and all of the things, and of course this is never going to go away for him. I think there should be a statute of limitations for how long you can keep using the same thing against someone, and that's my take. And I'll pass it to Haran.
I like
that. That was loaded. That was loaded. We're gonna dissect that. That was loaded. Haran Zamaka.
Everybody's just full of shit. Everybody's just full of shit. Like why is this even a talking piece when you spent 10 to 15 years shaking ass to his music though? You just realized that he whooped her ass.
Right.
You just you all these people in the music industry, you were jumping on his records though. You was calling them up for collaborations though. You doing all these things, you know what I mean, while you under the knowledge that this man did this thing, and he was allegedly doing other things. Why not? See, you don't get to stand on a moral high ground after you're done with the devil.
I like that.
You was with him. You was in bed with him.
Them to be getting dropped tonight.
You know what I mean? You was in bed with him. You was making money. It's like Harvey Weinstein and all these other people. No, you were in bed with this person. It's like Jaguar White when she hopped on, when she had a little internet moment and she hopped on and talked about the industry and so on and so forth. But mommy, you was making money with these dudes though.
Yep.
You know they was like this. You shut your mouth because you was getting paid though. You know, I respect the person that walks out when there's $50 million on the table.
Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, exactly. When there's money on the table and you're like, nah, I'm good. That's the person like, okay, I see what this person is. This is the kind of person that really stands for something. You don't stand. You don't. You. A lot of these people want. This is what I'm starting to call now convenient morality. A lot of people want to be moral when it's convenient. No, the whole point of morality and having a moral code is that you have a moral code when it's not really convenient. That's when the strength comes in. That's when we call you a hero. That's when we call you courageous. You know what I mean? You're not courageous after you've depleted the resource for what it is, and then you bounce. And of course, the Blueface situation, you know, of course, people don't blow it out of proportion because it's the guy getting his ass whooped. You know what I mean? It's the guy getting violence inflicted on him. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a key for a lot of people. When at the end of the day, domestic violence should always be deemed putrid, whether it's the man being attacked or the woman being attacked. It is domestic violence. Okay, by based on the system and the law itself. The law doesn't say, hey, you know what I mean, domestic violence should only be, you know what I mean, geared towards women. No, this is, you know, I'm not even going to get into that. But anyway, overall, at the end of the day, I'm just seeing it as just very convenient that it seems that all of a sudden now everybody needs to remind everyone that he did these things 10 or some odd years ago or 15 years ago. It's a moot point because it's either important then or it's not important at all.
And Haran,
that's where I stand.
I want to add to what you just said because we covered something like this a few weeks back, and I just, as you were talking, I was just noticing something. The timing of this is very, 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 very suspicious, and I'm gonna tell you why. Remember a few streams back we were talking about the R. Kellys, the Weinsteins, and the others, right? And we pointed out there was something that they all had in common, and what they all had in common was the moment they stopped producing at the level that they was once producing for the people, then all of a sudden everybody's a victim, everybody's got morals, you know, and so he falls into that category too, because every album that he's come out with has been a hit except that last album. Exactly. Right after that last album, that's when this hate train started, because it started with the whole Kelly Rowland thing, the Grammys thing. I've noticed, I'm like, well, hold on, are we back in 2008? Like, what? Am I missing something? Did he hit somebody else? Because where's all this coming from? And then as you're talking, that's when I'm putting together the timeline.
Well, I don't think that that's Chris's case, just my opinion, because there's still a lot of juice in that orange. Like, Chris is far from washed up, but I do believe R. Kelly was done. Harvey Weinstein, they were done with it. Epstein, they were done. I think Chris he's still young. He still can dance his ass off. He can still sell out an arena. So that's a money maker. So I don't think he's there yet at the point where it's like, look, let's get the rest of, you know, whatever we can get from this clown. You know what I mean? Throw something else out. I really do think, you know, it's Keely. Now that you said that earlier, Lila, I really do think Keely started it with, look, I got to get more attention. Because why else would that woman say that she slept with all of B2K and now she's going after Chris Brown? You got to go after somebody big, and not only after somebody big, but somebody who's going to clap back and put more eyes on you. So Chris, here's the thing. If I was playing the blog game, I would either go after Cardi B.
I was about to say Cardi B.
Or I would go after Chris Brown. I wouldn't go after Jennifer Lopez or Beyonce because they never respond. They don't respond. So if I did want to get...
That's how you win in the internet. You don't respond. And that's where I'm mad at him. Like, yo, bro, just ignore it. You know what I mean? Just ignore it and keep it pushing. Because the more you feed the internet is about feeding. You know, it's not about logic. It's not about
it's a machine. Gotta feed it.
It's not about, you know, logic. It's not about coming to a meeting of the minds and we coming to a resolution. It's about that's it. You know what I mean? So if you don't engage, you're good most of the time.
So I want to touch on something that Brienne said. Let's start opening up this corpse. Yeah. I want to touch on something Brienne said, where she said it was mutual combat. Now let's talk about my glass house. Grew up in the South Bronx. Family was violent, went from fighting my family to interrelationships where I'm fighting. And I mean bad. I mean broken noses, stitches. And I'm talking about relationships, right? Broken noses, stitches, overnight in the bullpen, weekend in the bullpen, like really, really violent, right? When you come from a violent home and then you're in the South Bronx and you're fighting your way through junior high school and high school, you know what I mean? It's normal. It's like breathing. It's like, oh, we fit in a fight. Let's fight, right? So that's my glass house, right? So like Lily, I can't look at them and be like, oh my God, they're swinging at each other. They're hitting each other. I look at them like, damn, it's fucked up. They'll regret it when they get older, but you got to get older. I keep stressing that. You got to get older to look back and be like, oh my God, that was me. Well, who am I now without the violence that I grew up around? Who am I now? Can Jen have tea and crumpets and have a conversation with ladies? Probably so, right? So, so I look at them and I'm like, what Brienne said, that is what I see. I see mutual combat from the very first day, as horrible as those pictures of Rihanna were when they hit the press. Okay. I'm going to say this. I was like, oh, I've looked like that before.
I said the same thing. I said the
Wait,
same
what?
I promise. I put that on everything. I put that on everything.
Yeah,
I didn't have a.
Tristan, back then, it was Tristan. Listen, back then, it was a very different world. You know what I mean? You know, seeing Rihanna's face on that cover and seeing what happened to her, I'll admit, I haven't seen many a face like that.
I'm just trying to understand why he crying. What? How is he crying? He's still making millions of dollars a year.
But one thing I will say, when I saw the photo, I said to myself, I thought he was finished. I thought he was finished. I was like, it's gonna be. I don't know how he's gonna be able to get out of this.
All he did was say, listen, you keep messing around. She's an island girl. 100% guarantee she hit him first. That is 100%. If you were raised from an island household, the women will always put their hands on you first. It's a fact. You can't deny it.
Allegedly, that's what happened. Allegedly.
Okay, that would be my. That would be my guess too. That would be my guess too.
Allegedly, that's what happened. You know what I mean? And he flipped out. She put her hands on him first, allegedly, and he blacked out. That is the story that I was told and many industry folks were told. Again, allegedly, we don't have the facts.
But well, he said it too. Remember, he did do that finally broke his silence and did that whole documentary thing where he talked about what happened. But if you come from that background, and Chris Brown has also spoken about his violent background growing up when he was a kid, when you're from there, you know what it is. So when I saw the pictures of Rihanna, I was like, I know what this is. I've looked like that before. I've made my boyfriend look like that before. I knew what it was, right? Rihanna also, what she can't live down was, I think it was in Glamour magazine, she said that she's an island girl, she's tough, and she grew up with her brother, and she broke a glass bottle on her brother's face. Verbatim, that is what she said. You can Google it. I think it was Glamour magazine. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but she did say she broke a glass bottle on her brother's face, and they were always fighting, and that is how they fight, right? So I guarantee, since the fight that night between Chris Brown and Rihanna, since it was something she found on his phone, I guarantee she's the one that swung first. That is my guesstimate. And the dude looks like he did black out. Now, of course, he had marks. He also had bite marks, and but when all of that happened, Rihanna's pictures, were released first. So he was dead in the water. And another thing that society or media, the powers that be, or white women specifically who defend domestic violence, they don't understand our backgrounds, right? Well, that's just another Tuesday in a freaking toxic relationship. The way we see it now with Blueface and Chrisean rock. There's a reason why people don't give a damn that those two are pounding each other out. Did what Blueface say have some merit? You beat up the wrong bitch. Rihanna was like, she was the Rockefeller, princess. She was, Umbrella Ella. She was the princess, right? Who cares about Chrisean Rock? So does it show our hypocrisy? And I'm gonna pass the mic here, but I want to highlight
You
what
forgot one thing,
necessary.
though, Jan. You forgot the one thing.
Let me
Right?
highlight this and then you let me know. Necessary
Okay.
Evil says different age groups though. Chris Brown and Blueface age group is desensitized to toxicity. Is that another factor? Are kids now like, oh, whatever? You know what I mean? Where back then it was like people were dropping their teacups when they saw Rihanna's face. Is it our kids are getting more and more desensitized? You were saying, Haran?
White girls like Rihanna. White women like Rihanna. So I hate to say it. When white women like a particular black woman, and I don't know if it's some sick, mammy, twisty shit. I don't fucking know. But, you know what I mean? I have often seen that once white women like a particular black woman, you like, you better not touch her. You know what I mean? And you know, it's a different bit of energy when Shaquanda from the projects has been brutalized. It's not saying that they're not as they don't come to her defense as much, but fuck it, they just don't come to her defense as much. You know what I mean? So yeah, and plus, like he said, she just been on the Super Bowl. It's a different space she's in right now. It's a completely different space.
Well, white women think they're morally superior anyway, because
Absolutely.
they think they're morally superior because even when Kobe had passed away, I mean, the white women were on Twitter talking about, his rape case. They went wild as if Kobe just did it, as if he just did that instead of just died. Right? It was white women that went running to Twitter. The Disney, the heiress of Disney, that other chick, the lead actress from Westworld, like they all went running to not give their condolences, but to remind everyone that Kobe was quote unquote a rapist. So white women do think they're morally superior. So I can see them coming out to defend Rihanna. And I'll say this. Last night, I was on a Star Report and we were discussing that, and Star was mentioning that, Chris Brown should have, went on what I would call an apology press tour, and he never did that. He should have went show to show, CNN, Fox, The View, The Talk, and just cried his eyes out and apologized about beating on Rihanna. He would have been better off today. But here's what I think. Because Rihanna was in, like Brianne said, mutual combat, and she knows damn well she was fighting in that car herself. Because what Chris said was, I think she threw his keys out the window and was hitting his penis with the cell phone, because she was mad because someone he had messed with before was texting him about the party, and that woman came over to the table when they were at the party and was like, oh, hi. You know how that, we've all been, not all of us, because some of us aren't as toxic as me, but we've all been at that party where someone's ex walks up and we're looking at him like, how you fitting to handle this? Right? We've been in that position, like, oh, here come that bitch you used to be. How you fitting to handle this?
Yeah, right.
Look, man,
right? If we got these, if there's liquor flowing, that's a whole different conversation in the car, right? So here's what I think Rihanna should have did, which people are going to be like, oh my God, no, never. Rihanna, as much in love as she was, especially because of this. After that whole thing blew over, did we not see Rihanna cuddly with Chris Brown sitting front row at a fucking basketball game, right? We saw
Oh, you forgot
that.
the record they did together.
Yep.
The record
Afterwards.
they did together. They did together afterwards, and her crying and bawling her eyes out to Oprah, saying she was still in love with him. Okay, here's the deal I would have did. I'd have been like, oh fuck no, you have to go on national television and say it was a mutual combat. You have to go on TV and say that you are also a violent person. And I think that would have saved Chris Brown. Has she said it with her chest, went on a press tour and been like, hey, look, it was mutual. I got mad. I was jealous, blah, blah. Because if she really loved him, I would think that she would try to help this man and save his career. Now, if they had never talked again, I wouldn't be saying this. But you slept with him after, you were cuddly with him after, you made up with him after, you made music with him after, which made you money, okay? And then you just left him to the wolves. Now, she never spoke to him again. I promise you, I wouldn't say what I'm saying right now. I'll pass.
I agree.
I will say this, and I will speak to my glass house. You know, when I was a younger man, I was rather toxic. Believe it or
No.
not.
What? The
I know,
Jamaican
I
man's
know,
Jamaican man
I
toxic?
know, I
What?
know,
A
man. I
Jamaican man that lives
know
in New York? No way,
What?
you're
I
toxic.
know
I can't process
these
Yes.
things, man. You think you know a person, but I was
Hold on, Ron. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like and subscribe if you're here for the first time. I am gonna put the chat in a minute on subscribers only because I'm tired of y'all lurking and talking shit and you don't subscribe to me. Stop being an asshole. But hit that like for me because I got double the people in the room and half the likes. Welcome.
Chat, don't be afraid of her threat. She don't even know how technology works. Don't be afraid.
I do know how to do it. Don't listen to Tristan. Don't do it. Don't
just gonna
do it.
get you up out of here real quick.
Right. Don't do it. When I say I'm gonna do something, don't let Tristan just trying to get you hemmed up.
This thing gonna get you fucked up out
because
of
I
here.
saw last night it was a comment
Don't listen
somebody
to your
left in
man.
the
What we used to say? What we used to say, Jen? Don't listen to your man, kid. Don't listen. Don't listen to your man.
Oh, I was lining them up, boy. I was about to line them
Don't
all
let your
up.
man get you fucked up.
Oh God, Tristan,
Anyway,
lining y'all up. You were saying around how innocent and sweet you were back in the day.
yeah, you know what I mean. I had a couple of things I had to work out as an older man. You know,
Wait, I
in
don't
my
see no super chats.
evolution.
I've been on 40 minutes. I don't see not one super chat. I'm gonna do a countdown. Okay, go ahead, Ron.
Um, yeah, yeah. So you know, when I was younger, you know, okay, I'm just gonna flat out and say it. I wasn't physically abusive, but I could be psychologically and emotionally fucking abusive.
Okay. Oh, I
You
love
know what
how
I
we're
mean?
all confessing tonight. Doesn't that feel
You
good?
know what I mean? I've slept with cousins. You know what I mean? I've left, yeah, I've left with, no, not my cousin. I mean, like
I
my
know what you meant.
girlfriend's.
You ain't never got
Yeah,
cut.
you know.
Ain't no woman ever cut you.
Oh, well, that's the other half of the story, madam.
Okay, I was about to say because
Uh,
you would have got cut with me.
I've jumped out of many a window, literally.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
I've literally had women jump on my neck, like choking me, like, you know what I mean? You know, it's I mean, and when I was doing these things, I just didn't really give a fuck. I did the shit because it was free. Like being a piece of shit was free.
Mm-hmm.
I could get away with it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It was just like, who's gonna check me? Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I will say this as an older man, you know, when I try to put these young dudes on the game and tell them these things, I tell them these things because when you look back on it, like I got lucky many a time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody could have killed me. Somebody could have, you know, things could have worked. I could have probably got hit with a fucking disease, some shit I can't fucking get rid of. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Things could have not worked out for me. And I will say this to young people, you know, older people, they tell you these certain things because we existed in these toxic relationships. We've been around these violent people. We've been in violent environments and we know how it goes. You see, it's a difference between actually being in certain situations and y'all keep keying and pointing at this shit on TV and you
Yep.
thinking this shit is cute.
I got a scar right here from
You know what I
a,
mean?
a lover's quarrel. I got a scar right here, 4 stitches. It's real. Like we're telling you
You know what I
this
mean?
because we lived it. We lived it.
Yeah, and another thing too, especially when I see what's going on with the manosphere and I'm seeing guys do all this tough guy shit and all this whatever. It's like, bro, this is not you, man. You don't want anything to do with that kind of world because if you're gonna walk down a particular path of toxicity or what you perceive to be confidence, you have to be ready to go 24/7.
Mm.
You have to be ready to be that person on site at all times. You know, and most of the people that I've met, most of the people that, you know what I mean, basically you know, who ended up in jail and so on and so forth or whatever, most of these people there was a point in their life where they felt that they just couldn't get out of the world that they basically placed themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you bury yourself so far deep in toxicity, whether it's a gang life or a relationship and so on and so forth. Sometimes you bury yourself so deep in that shit. That's all you know. And you can't function out of an abusive, outside of an abusive relationship. And there's a
Right.
lot of people like that right now who can't evolve and think outside of, a chick beating their ass or they beating a chick ass and so on and so forth, because that's literally all they know.
Well, let's fast forward to Blueface and Chrisean, right? So I'm gonna throw this picture up really quickly just to remind people the type of damage that Chrisean Rock does to her boyfriend Blueface. And again, it's mutual because they both have knockdown, drag out fights. I mean, you can literally go to YouTube, type in Chrisean and Blueface fights. They're fighting out on the sidewalk. They're fighting in bars. They are fighting on their TV show on the Zeus Network. Okay, Zeus Network said, you know what? I'm putting this on TV. It's a hit show on the Zeus Network. All the blogs love them. Some Chrisean and Blueface fighting. So I'm going to show you the picture again real quick. That is Rihanna's face on the left, and that is Blueface's face on the right. You see he has scratches all over his forehead. He has 2 black eyes, not 1, but 2. Okay. And that's Rihanna on the left. Now, both those bruises, okay, were the result of, like Brienne said, mutual combat. Mutual. All right.
And what makes this even worse, the 3 blogs that post them the most, Hollywood Unlocked, Shade Room, and Neighborhood Talk. What do they 3 all have in common?
They're black owned. They're black owned.
And they cover this and just are obsessed with this relationship and this toxicity and things like that. And, I guess they're supposed to be the new age Bobby and Whitney, but they weren't to this level of, like, they kept some things behind, a lot of things behind closed doors.
Right. We didn't know till later, till they made 55 movies of Whitney Houston. We didn't know how bad it was behind closed doors. Right. And Bobby wasn't that bad.
Right.
Right. I think
I called that a long time ago too. I had been calling that from the beginning. I said, oh no, I see through. I love you, Whitney, but I see through you, Nippy. I see through you.
Not the Nippy.
Whitney from Newark, man. Whitney from Newark.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it meant. That's what it
here's something I do notice. Here's another layer to it. And please, somebody jump in if you got something to say. Here's another layer to it. But remember back in the day and even today, it's like we get into the conversations of the white man is out to get us and the white man is programming us and the white man putting this on TV and the white man and white man and white man. And we spoke about power. When other people come into power, right? They wield their power. I don't care what race or ethnicity you are. When people are in power, there's no point in having power if you're not going to use it, right? But for some reason, it's been easy to play the violin if only white people had the power until black people got some kind of power, right? There's black Twitter and black Instagram, and they think that it's a group, a power structure, right? Can't tell them it's not a power structure. I've actually seen people post stuff and be like, Black Twitter, do your thing. So obviously they think, right, it's some sort of power structure. So similarly, now we see, guess what? Black men are starting to own networks. We got Forrest Bias Network. Shout out to Fubu. We got Zeus Network. We have All Black Network, which used to be UMC. So now Black men are starting to become network owners. And what are their hit shows?
Nonsense.
Quick question. I just want to ask one question on all these Black-owned shows. Anybody play Malcolm X yet? Anybody play the Malcolm X movie yet? I'm like, anyone play the Malcolm X movie, Do the Right Thing, something like, I don't know, like, something of merit? I mean, shit, did anyone play any of this yet?
So here's the thing. They do have other programming, right? And every time I see one of these guys on an interview and they ask them, well, why are you showing that? And why are you showing us in that light? And why? And the retort is always, hey, we have other programming. People choose to watch what they want to watch.
When is it on though? Like, when is it on? Is it on at 1 a.m. on Sundays? Like, what is it? When is it on? Like,
and where are the advertisements for it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, where's the ads for it? I mean, we can
the way they. But what's nice is that, well, I don't know if it's nice, but I do see, right? Because when it was just white people in charge of what we watch, right? We couldn't really say. I didn't really see people pushing back to the point was that white. I mean, I saw a little bit of heat thrown on Mona Scott for the Love and Hip Hop or the Basketball Wives and all of that. But, now I'm seeing in the comments of like Hollywood Unlocked, like, why do you keep posting Chrisean and Blueface? I do see people saying, okay, now you guys are blatantly trying to shove this toxicity down our throat. And let me tell you, it has not stopped Hollywood Unlocked. It has not slowed them down. Every other post is about Chrisean beating Blueface's ass or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I am seeing the crowd kind of get bothered. Like, why do you keep showing us these people? It's toxic. You're promoting domestic violence, which I would agree with. Yeah. I would agree with it.
Yeah, I've been seeing it too. And I started seeing that about a month ago. Mm-hmm. That I started noticing it. And like you said, they still get posted through like every hour and hour. Maybe every 30 minutes at this point. And I might be being nice then. It's really crazy. So then, that leads us to ask the question, where's the real problem? Where's the real root? Is it us? Is it the blogs? Is it a combination? Is it the networks? Because I can't really blame them. They just doing what they was going to do whether the cameras was on or not. But they realized that they can monetize this thing. They can monetize their toxicity. They can monetize their relationship. Because we all was sitting around looking at our watches waiting for their reality show to come up at some point. We knew that was coming. It was just the natural progression of toxicity in today's America. Mm-hmm.
And everybody now is following the Cardi B model. Like, be the one on the reality show that stands out and is the most ratchet and filthy and uncouth and can barely speak English and drinks all the time and does the drugs and is ready to fight at the drop of a hat. And that's what, if you notice, these reality shows now, remember before reality shows were very slick. They had certain, characters, and then that one ratchet person. There was always one. Like with Love and Hip Hop, it was Jocelyn. With Basketball Wives, I would say it was Evelyn, right? Mm-hmm. Evelyn was the one that was going to run across the table. And with Love and Hip Hop, Cardi B, the new version, the later versions of Love and Hip Hop. But now when you watch these shows, when you watch Baddies, which Chrisean Rock is also a part of, when you watch Side Chicks, which is on Forest Bias Networks, when you watch these shows, now all the girls are a Cardi B. All the girls are willing to fight.
Yep. Baddies and they had Bad Boys LA too. And for all I was reading and all of the reviews were like, okay, we came for the fights, but we kind of want some storylines to go with the fights. Can you tell me backstory of who this person is? Because all I know is I turned on the TV, episode 1, minute 1, fight 1. And then it was just, that was what you got the rest of it's just real lazy at this point.
And that's what made me stop watching.
I just want to say something. I just want to say something real quick. Aside from Cardi B, not Cardi B included, but as Jen went down and started really naming all these women on all these reality shows, I started to realize something. Those are the women that I'm attracted to.
You ain't all
these shows. And I'm saying to myself, like, holy shit, these are all the chicks that I was checking for. Like,
you were checking for Cardi B?
No, I wasn't really checking for Cardi B like that.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, ooh, that's an acquired taste.
She's not my type. Like, but Evelyn,
Jocelyn?
I love me some Evelyn, man. Jocelyn was like, she was useful.
I
You
love
know what I
Brown.
mean? You know, as
I
long
love
as she
her
didn't
back in the
talk,
day.
as long as she didn't talk, you know what I mean? There's some
Every
usefulness
time
in
I
her.
hear
You know what I
someone
mean?
say Jocelyn, I'm like, oh.
You
Because
know
you
what I
know
mean? She
one of
was
my favorite
useful. You know what I
lines.
mean?
I
But
like one of
usually
my
it's the women who are over the top and whatever that I'm like, oh yeah, like even En Vogue, like I was into, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was, you know, all of them look good, but I was into Dawn, man.
crazy ass Dawn. I knew
Dawn
you about
was,
to say
you know,
crazy ass Dawn.
Okay,
I
so
was,
is that you? Because that's a great point. Is that you in general,
I
or
was about
you
to
at a
say
very young age?
um,
Is that you today?
I noticed that today. See, this is where I make sure that I'm very, you know, I mean, conscious of the women that I approach, and because I knew that the young me was very much, you know, attracted to that kind of woman. Like I wanted the wild, crazy, just you know, off the wall chick because it was like, yeah, we can match energies and shit like that, and that's not that that is not sustainable. That is
So
not sustainable, man.
can we touch on that really quickly? That is the equivalent, because a lot of men like to say you don't like the nice guys, you like the assholes. Treat a woman bad because they like that. That is what they like. That's the equivalent. That's the male version. When you
but
see a crazy bitch and it makes your dick hard, it's the same thing. Human beings like a challenge and a chase, even if man or woman is not gender specific at all. But it's the
But
same thing. It's the
an
it
equivalent.
adrenaline
is.
junkie. But I'm an adrenaline junkie,
But
and
but but
women like
but
that get
Haran,
my adrenaline going.
what I was gonna say is when as you were describing that, I was thinking, wow, thank God he's in touch with that because I remember I think I was about early 30s, late 20s, early 30s when I realized that there were way more men than not that wanted that. They
Mm.
they wanted that. And because I've never really been that girl, I can take it there, but
Mhm.
I don't want to take it there. And I would notice when I was dating around that time, I was like, oh, I think he's trying to push me there because he gets off on that. And I'm not that girl. I'll dump you first. Right. So I feel like a lot of men are there, but most of
Mhm.
them aren't able to articulate and put it together or aware that that's
Mhm.
what they're looking for because everyone's and this is because this is what I say about people in general.
Mhm. Mhm.
Everyone walks around talking about, I'm so sick of this. I'm tired of going through this. I just want peace. Blah, 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 blah. Lies, lies, lies. Most people do not fucking want peace.
At all.
They don't.
They don't know what to do with it.
They don't know what to do with it. Exactly. Most people do not want peace. I stopped listening to that a long time ago.
Smart,
I was just gonna
smart.
add that.
At the age that go ahead, I'm sorry, Brian.
Oh, I was just gonna add to, I guess, what both of you said. I was the type of girl everybody avoided like the plague growing up. I was the boring one. Had to be home at a certain time. Could leave the house without, one of my brothers or my dad with me. So as I got older, I realized after they'd had their fun, they're like, "Oh, okay. I always had a crush on you." No, you didn't. You asked me about my cousin, my friends, those exciting, party girls. And then as soon as you got old enough to realize, that's giving you a headache, now you want the boring, the stable, the one that wasn't out there doing all that stuff. I was always the designated driver, the one to make sure nobody was drinking too much, the one to make sure nobody's parent found out what they were doing. Like I was always kind of that girl, Oh, I'm gonna go pick up Brienne, so we can't be doing anything bad, right? No, they would pick me up. They would sit
Ah.
me on a guy's couch. They would go to a back room, and then emerge, an hour later, then we would go get some food. Like I was the one that, okay, if she's with us, we're not doing anything bad. I was, that person they always relied on. So
Using
yeah,
Brienne.
Ryan, I
Oh
was the girl
no.
you would have avoided back then, but the type of girl you actually would have wanted to be your wife. My husband loves it and boring. He absolutely adores it. So I think some of it comes with age too. A lot of
Yeah.
these things, they always happen when they're younger, it seems like, and then they get older, then they change because you're not going to be the same person. But you want stability, I think, the older you get, especially when you're a woman. I think that's just my take on that.
So I'm going to, we're going to swing right back to the block to you, Haran, because you ain't skating. Take the skates off. Y'all like putting the skates on up here, you guys. So Haran tried to skate out, ladies, by saying, well, I'm just an adrenaline junkie. No, you're going to get the same heat that we get when we like the bad boy.
Pookie, right?
Yeah, Bookie, right? Because it's like, we can't imagine women saying, I don't like bad boys. I'm just an adrenaline junkie. No, they don't let us say that, but that's what it is, because adrenaline junkies like excitement, right? And that's what the bad boy, the quote unquote bad boy, or the asshole represents. The guy with the motorcycle, the guy that don't give a fuck, the guy that is not going to listen to the law, the guy that, doesn't go by the rules. It's the same thing. It's exciting to us. So don't put a cute little, I'm just an adrenaline junkie. Then we're adrenaline junkies too.
I'll give you a story. I'll give you a story about my, my younger life, my past. When I was around, and I met her when I was about 17. Mm-hmm. And this girl I would consider as, she was like my first love. We can call it that. Mm-hmm. And this girl, she was, incredibly intelligent, just as wild as me. When we both came from Caribbean parents, and as we got older, she, around like 20, around the year, 20 and 21 or whatever. As we got older, my appetite for things began to increase, mm-hmm. but she was thinking about the bigger picture. And she knew that I wasn't going to change anytime soon. And she went off with a dude who was, I considered, a fucking square at the time. Mm. You know what I mean? And, I was like, leaving me for this square motherfucker? Like, whatever. But looking back now, she did the right thing for herself and her future. Because, look, man, I wasn't capable of being in any kind of stable situation until I was like maybe 36.
Like, you still ahead of the game compared to most men. So
I'm like 36. That's hella young.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like 35, 36, that's when Zari, the idea of Zari came in and whatever. And that's when it was like, okay, I got to really rethink where I'm going with this. Like, I was still having some issues with things, but, I spent a lot of time just being whatever I wanted to be, and the freedom of that, and wanting to be with women who enjoyed that. But I will say this, yes, in my older years, I just want to compartmentalize that energy in the bedroom. You know what I mean? And in public or outside of it, at least if it's manageable, then cool. I can't live that kind of life or be that kind of person and exist in a world where I'm responsible, I'm dependable, I'm so on and so forth. Like, I got a lot of things cooking on the stove. Mm-hmm. And when you're living this kind of adrenaline rush life, you can't be safe. And women, I learned throughout life, one big lesson that I learned throughout life is that the older women get, the more they want safe. The more they want the routine guy, the more they want the guy that they know, he's going to be here at 5 p.m. and he's going to have his shirt tucked a certain way. He's going to be like, he's safe, he's predictable.
See, but we have to break the mindset that is gender specific. Mm-hmm. That is what bothers me the most about like the manosphere and the red pill. They like throwing at women. Yeah, now you 35 and you want to settle down because you finished messing around with the Pookie and the Rick. Well, so do you, motherfucker.
Right.
So do you.
It's called being young.
Right. But it's like women get crucified for being young and wanting excitement. And of course, after you get your 30s, you're like, you know what? I don't like the way handcuffs feel. I think I'm going to stop now. It happened to me.
Well, in certain situations.
I took myself to anger management. It wasn't court mandated. Okay. I took myself to anger management because it's like, you know what? You got to grow up sometime. I don't really like the cuffs on. I don't like the cops closing the cell door. It doesn't feel good. I'm not eating a bologna sandwich. I'm in a room full of prostitutes and they're washing their panties in the sink. And I was like, this is not the life I want. I changed my mind.
I changed my mind. I don't feel so like cool hit movie anymore. I feel like more of a loser now. Like
I was like, yeah, I don't, and you're sitting there. It's for, if you haven't experienced it, it is fucking freezing in the bullpen. The lights are so bright. I think they're trying to melt your brain. And women are on the floor in their panties. They're laying like under this tarp. They give you this. It's not even a blanket. It's like a fucking tarp. They feed you these bologna sandwiches. That thank goodness I had a hookup, and one of the cops brought me a sandwich from the deli. But that's beside the point. That's another topic. All right. But it's a horrible, and listen, just like that shit scared me straight. I was like, I can't be in and I can't be getting arrested and cuffed. There were girls in there literally, because they pick up a lot of prostitutes over the weekend. And you get locked up on Friday, you done.
Oh, that's all. I've been hearing
and
that since I was a kid.
Don't get locked up on Friday, and don't think it's like, yeah, you don't worry. They'll see you on Monday. If you were one of the last people to get locked up on Friday, Tuesday, bitch. Tuesday. Take it from me. So it's not cool. It was not, I was getting older, and I was like, I don't like being cuffed to the bar with the detective. And then you got to do the whole fucking shift with them. And you see people come and change their shift. You see the cop in the morning and then he goes in and it's not a good feeling. So I took myself to anger management. So I said all that to say, like, we all grow up, men and women, but women get crucified. But men are the same way. Men get older and they're like, I don't want the crazy chick anymore. Right. I want to have babies and I want her mother to be a nice person. So it's not gender specific. It's just women get a bad rap. But any smart human being knows it's not gender specific. It's not.
Like, I spent a lot of time lusting for Harley Quinn. But after a while,
I'll always be Harley, Mr. J. Don't get it twisted.
You know what I mean? But after a while, it's like, I got shit to do.
But remember, Harley was also very smart. She was, a psychiatrist. So it's like, I love that blend. Mm-hmm. And if you can maintain that, you know what I mean? That's some cool shit. Yes. Nobody wants Harley 24 hours a day.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still at my core, I'm still that adrenaline seeking wild dude. But I have more self-control now. Right. You know what I mean? I have more self-control. I go to the gym. I go find outlets where I can just like take that energy and put it on something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Rather than, like, yo, man, let's just put this fucking Ferrari, pedal to the floor, man. Fuck that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you just drag racing through the hills of LA. You know what I mean? And there's no girders around. You're just like almost gonna slip, and you can just feel like your ass almost dying.
And that's a great point. That's a great point because it depends, right? Humans are humans.
I'm sorry, right? Brand just gave me a side eye real quick on that last one.
What did you say? What was the last one?
No, when I said that, you know what I mean, that you can feel yourself almost dying, I saw the look on her face like, this nigga's crazy. Like,
I was about to say that, humans are gonna human, and it depends on what's available to you, right? So where, if you got money and you're the son or the daughter of the rich dad, you're gonna see if you can sneak them keys to that Ferrari, right? When you grow up in the hood, we're climbing the gate to get into the community swimming pool at 2:00 in the morning, knowing we could get. Mm-hmm. Knowing we can drown, we can die, we can get impaled. Like, so it's different. We're going to find a way to find that excitement. George Cook, are you trying to stereotype me? White man? I'll answer your question. Okay. Not a blade, but a box cutter. All the girls back in the days had box cutters,
Did
the
I show
orange
you
ones.
the one I
I
carry?
remember
Okay,
my
you're
mother
gonna
used
love
to
this
tell
shit.
me.
And
Right.
I also carried my first gun was a nickel plate 25 with a pearl handle. That is what I carried when I was 16, 17.
My mother, she said once before, as because she saw that I had an affinity for Spanish women at some point,
Oh,
and she said she was like, you gotta be careful with them Puerto Rican girls. They cut people. She's like, they cut people.
I've
So
cut people. I've cut people.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I mean? Yes, Brianne,
I've cut people.
we're
What
very
is that,
behaved
Lily?
and nice.
This
We're very
a
behaved and
beautiful
nice
pen.
aunties and uncles
A
now, but
beautiful
we
pen.
had somewhat of a past.
Beautiful pen.
We had
Uh
some.
huh.
What's that? Whoa!
Oh,
Oh my gosh!
Why? Oh my gosh.
that's nice.
Yes, and it works
That's
too.
that's very useful. I can
It is
think of
Very.
very
how useful
useful.
that is.
It writes, it
That
works, and
Where'd you
then
get that, Lily? Did you get that like an Army
oh,
and
that's
Navy
a
in Harlem.
in Harlem? I'm gonna look.
Harlem.
I'm gonna look into
of
that over
course,
where I
mom.
get my ammo.
Yeah. When I get back to Harlem, I'll get you some.
What? What?
Brianna's face.
Property.
Brianna's like, who
When she
are these
said,
people? Listen,
Brianne,
when she said,
Brianne, I live in
Brienne,
Brooklyn.
listen,
I have
listen.
an excuse.
If anybody messes with Bunny, show them this video and be like, those are her aunts and uncles.
oh,
Okay, that I'll
oh,
support protecting the babies, but when it comes to like being
oh,
in
oh,
relationships, I'm
oh.
like, who?
We
No, that
protect the
was
babies over here. We
yeah,
protect
I'm
the
no.
gonna
babies
tell my
over here,
child to
man.
protect herself against, like that's how I'm looking
Oh,
about. Like, how do you protect yourself? You know,
we
I'm
we
really
love
big
the
on
babies, man.
solutions. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good thing that we've experienced what we've experienced because we can talk about it in a realistic way, right? Where it's just
Of
some
course.
people will look at it like, oh, domestic violence is bad. We're like, this is why it's happening. This is why Blueface and Chrisean are doing what they're doing. They need help.
Yes.
And the scary thing about Blueface and Chrisean is that they have monetized it
Yep.
and they got famous for it. And now they have, people endorsing them, right? And they're
Plenty of
going to have
incentive.
deals, right? So it's like kids growing up are seeing this and saying, well, we can beat each other's asses on TV and get paid, right? Chrisean is always talking about how much money she's making. Right? She's always talking about, I'm gonna get the bag. I'm gonna get the bag. I don't care what y'all say. I love him. I'm gonna get the bag. Right? So
What's scary is I'm gonna tell you when I knew this was scary with them. I didn't realize how many people were paying attention to them until like Good Girls started. I started hearing about them more from like the Good Girls, like the Briannes, and that's when I was like, oh, wow, okay. Now I'm a little concerned because they have crossed over borders. Like, yeah, because they are a thing. They are a big thing. Like people really care about these people. And
but I saw that happen with Cardi B, Lily. Cardi B was that woman. And I used to always say this on Facebook. I say, if that chick sat next to you or your son, Miss Summa Cum Laude sorority, if your son brought that woman in the house and said, she's pregnant or I want her, you would not think twice about kicking that girl out of your house. However, we have this FOMO thing going on tenfold on social media, and now Cardi B is the cat's meow. And I started seeing a different demographic liking her and praising her. I was like, wait a minute, weren't you bougie bitches? Like, weren't you like, oh, no, not me, not never. I do mimosas on the weekend. Right. And now they're all twerking and I make body moves in the back when I'm fuck with you. I was like, wait a minute, weren't you the mimosa sorority girls? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like now Cardi B is your thing. Now Cardi B is your girl. So it goes back to what you just said, Lily, where it's like, it's not just the ratchets following Blueface and Chrisean. Now all the nice girls and the nice guys are finding them exciting. Chrisean, is making some dicks hard with her missing tooth and all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the guys, they say that. Actually, I've heard that a lot of times. Oh, she can get it, or blah blah blah, or and I was just like, am I missing something? Can someone explain everything to me? Because I'm lost. Like, what Twilight Zone are we living in?
Guaranteed the rappers are lining up. Not only because it would get them a lot of press, but because they like her. She's more exciting. Whether she's unsightly to me, right? She looks like she stinks of liquor and cigarettes. But with that said, right, she can get you some headlines, and she's a lot more exciting than the BBL chicks that could barely walk up and down a flight of steps with the lashes and the wigs. She's much more exciting to these rappers.
And another thing, I've known quite a few people who have been around her in person.
Mm-hmm.
Up until recently, they all pretty much said the same thing. Meeting her in person, they're like, she's not the same in person. She's extreme. But recently, it's just been like, I think since the show or whatever, it's been fuel on the flames. Yeah. But up until then, they was like, no, if you meet her, she's super sweet. Like, she's great to talk to. It's like, she kind of makes you want to like grab her and like hold her and like protect her in a way. It's like they all say the same thing, which was very interesting to me. And then, but then in recent times, I started to see that, yeah, even it's like someone said it. It's like you can tell they're getting high and drunk just 24/7. And then the fact that she's pregnant, I'm more worried about that right now.
I don't think she is, though.
Okay. Because that was like 2 weeks ago and we didn't hear about it no more, right?
We didn't hear about it. She's still running around with bottles of liquor. I mean, this girl takes it straight to the head. Hennessy.
Yeah.
I smell Hennessy and I'm like, Hennessy smells like it can start a car. I don't know how people do it.
I don't
know
either.
how people do it. And she takes it to the head.
I couldn't do it.
Out the bottle. I'm like, shit.
And then, like you said, we have to consider both of their backgrounds too. I mean, like I said, one of my pet peeves is when adults forget what it's like to be young. That bothers me. Because I'm like, I'm pretty sure if I had, a camera to go back into your past, sir, ma'am, come on now. Like, for instance, there's a girl that I was mentoring and I helped her get a place. Like, I helped her get established moving up here, and then she got a place in my neighborhood and stuff. And we fell out, young girl. And so somebody was kind of going in on her, right? And I was like, okay, now I'm fair. I'm a fair person. So I'm going to go in on the things that I feel like are true. But I can't go all the way in. I said, because, and like I said, when I started this stream, I said, I live in a glass house, and the person who was going to say, you do too. And I said, and me and you at 25, and we were doing way worse than what this girl is doing now. So I can't take that all, you can't forget that. We have to give a little bit of, it's not an excuse. We're not by any means. I'm just saying, have some compassion for these kids and understand that they need help, because and like, I think a lot of us, I don't know about Brienne, but me, you, and Haran could identify with seeing a lot of toxicity growing up, and I talked about it on here, how the parents that I have now are not the parents that raised me. And so when I grew up and got out of their house, I communicated the way I watched them communicate the whole 18 years I lived there. So my way of communication was cussing you out, loud, boisterous, just drama.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's how you got things done, right? Like,
yeah, but that's why it's good that we talk about it specifically, because people that didn't experience what we did, or thankfully we don't look like what we've been through, and we don't look like what we've done. So it's really cool that we can talk about this with the experience. I saw somebody earlier say, please don't be a product of your environment. And I'm like, he said, please don't be a product of your environment. Hood life is not a good life. Here's the thing. No, and yes, and yes, and no. You can't just tell someone don't be a product of their environment, because everybody is. I don't care if it's a good family or a bad family. Your family is going to have an effect on you.
That's
So
like
you
telling
can't.
a fish not to swim.
Right. So, but I will say this, you will be a product of your environment, but you can change. You can change. You don't have to be a Chrisean and Blueface for your entire life, because there's no future in that. But tell the truth, Haran. You like Chrisean a little bit, don't
Not now.
you?
Not now. See the
But why
missing
not
tooth or
now?
whatever.
Oh, you
The
need the
missing
tooth
tooth
back
or
in?
whatever.
You need
Yeah,
the
the
tooth
People
tooth
back
get
in?
it
back
from
in.
time to time.
She looked better previously. When she had the tooth back in, she was a little bit more in shape. She aged into, she looking a little auntie-ish at a very young age right now.
Oh,
You know
wait,
what I
I
mean? Like
said that. I said that about her
yeah,
and a couple
she's
other
I'm about to
girls that are
say
in their early 20s. I'm
a
like,
lot of them.
like you looking a little like it's like that, and that's another
hey,
thing too.
Shelly.
Like that toxic life can age you. That toxic world, it can age you. It can destroy you. Can take your life force away from you. So I've seen the effects of it, and if she continues down this path, like look at Frankie, look at what she transformed into, and look at what Black China's mother is transformed into.
Look at
That
what
is what
Black. Did you see
toxicity.
Black China last week?
Yeah, nah, I didn't see how she looks. Wow.
No,
Hmm.
no.
She looks
Hmm.
just like her mother
Hmm.
now. She looks
Oh.
Ouch.
just. You didn't see her?
Mm-mm.
Oh, let me pull it up for y'all. She looks just like her mother now.
And
She
that's
At
looks
what
like
why.
a
at
And
what
that's
light skinned version
event?
why.
of her mother.
At what
And
event?
that's
The
why.
Grammys,
What's up?
red carpet. Was it the Grammys? What
Oh
was the last
goodness.
thing?
Wait, are you talking about that she had that bird outfit on?
Yeah, did you see her face?
I didn't see her face, but
She
I
looked
saw the
just like her mother, a light skinned version of her mother.
yuck.
See, when
All
you
right, good
take
luck.
care of yourself and you don't deal with toxicity, you end up looking like Cheryl Lee Ralph in your later years. You know what I mean?
No,
When
it
you
did.
take care of yourself.
Her lifestyle, like it did age her dramatically, Chrisean. Like she looks swollen. She looks like people that drink a lot. You know, they get swollen. They get that red look. And that's how she looks. Oh, I see. I pulled it up here. Wow, she does look like her
Don't she
mother.
look just like her?
Yeah, her and her mother are twins. They're twinning.
Oh, oh
They're,
wait. Oh
they're
wow.
twinning.
Right?
Okay. Good luck.
And really, I'm looking at it through here. She looks better on because I'm looking at it. It looks good. It makes it look better on here because I'm looking at it right here. It looks totally
Yeah, I
different.
just pulled it up on Google. Yeah. Hey, she likes it. I love it. Do you think getting going back to the hypocrisy, why aren't I'm surprised that more men aren't pointing out that Blueface is getting his ass handed to him? Is it because he's partaking and also monetizing it? Is that why people don't feel sorry for Blueface?
No, because there's a lot of men I've spoken to that they don't think anybody in society will listen to them anyways. So the fact that they're monetizing it, it doesn't help. But yeah, when we see a picture like this, before they'll assume he's, for instance, a victim, they'll just assume it's mutual. Because with a guy, it's either mutual or he's the one doing it. With a woman, it's assumed she's the victim. So I think that's the difference with the hypocrisy in society too. You see a guy like that, the first thing most people say is, okay, what did he do to deserve it? Not why did that happen to him? So yeah, when I talk to guys, that's the first thing they say, and it makes sense because there is one guy I knew years ago that was divulging to me how a woman was hurting him and hurting their child. So I'm thinking, well, why is he telling me this? Like, is there anything I can do? Am I supposed to be a listening ear? And hindsight is 2020. I wish I would have reported it, at least to have something on record that, like, I knew this was happening and I could have maybe helped protect that child too, but I didn't know that back then, that I could have helped or done anything. So instead of him reporting it, which he of course never did, I should have been the one to report it because I would have been more believed. Because it made me emotional, but I didn't believe I could do anything. So I think at least speaking up, if you have the power to, is going to help. But I didn't do it. And obviously it was years ago I missed my opportunity to say something.
Right. Do you think, just for anyone on the panel, do you think that, and again, it's hard to gauge because they both partake and now they're on the show and make, but when I, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But when I hear Blueface speak on their relationship, it sounds, and I could be wrong, it sounds to me like he's not as involved or wants to be involved
Right.
as
He sounds more
she is.
mature than she is, but he's stuck
Right.
because this is now his bread and butter. That's what I get from him.
Right. Because he did say, they asked him, well, what do you think, about the way she acts and blah, blah, blah. He was like, well, people like it. It makes her lit. Right. So if he was completely there with her, he wouldn't even understand that question. He would be like, what you mean how we are? This is how we are. But he said it and he looked very matter of fact, like he was very aware of her behavior.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to tell you another thing that made me look at it different.
Okay.
I don't know if we touched on this or if I was on, if I wasn't on, if you touched on it, but you remember the whole controversy with the Moniece thing, and it was Blueface and Chrisean, and they were on a podcast, and Moniece was there as well. And it's kind of like Blueface and Moniece had started to kind of they started to converse to the point where I guess they kind of forgot Chrisean was there. And Chrisean spoke up and was like, hold the fuck up. Y'all getting a little bit too chummy, cozy. And what I gathered from that was he finally, because I feel like he gets no stimulation from her outside of that. Right.
I can see that.
So it was like refreshing to have just a conversation, because from with them, right, all I picture in my head is like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? That's pretty much.
Right. And he did say that he did say that I saw clips when they were at a psychiatrist, and they obviously both need help. Even if Blueface is more of the quote unquote victim, he needs help as well. He needs to figure out why he's tolerating that. And the man had a business. He had a restaurant. So he's not a complete babbling idiot. He's not a complete babbling idiot. I'm sure he's thinking about the future. He has a child. Does he have one or two? I think the little boy. He has a little boy, right, with the other woman. Yeah, he has a little boy. I don't think it's more than one.
Okay.
But I think I'll just say I do see him like being stuck, and I know women are not going to want to hear that. They're going to be like, he ain't stuck. He could do what he wants, but that's not true, because women also get stuck in relationships, right? And we have to accept that,
especially when
right?
it's finance, when the the finances are there. We know that story. We've heard that story so many times. I couldn't leave. Like, that was my bread and butter. I had to come up with a plan.
Right, and I do see him like that, where it's like, it'll be the simplest conversation when they're in the same room. The simplest. Have you seen them interact? Like, it could be the simplest conversation. Like, so what do you want to do later? You acting weird. Why you acting weird? You're acting weird, bro. You're acting weird, bro. And he's like, what are you talking about? And you're acting. Come on, you're acting weird. Why you do? I'm like, I could not live like that. And then he looks like he doesn't know if she's going to swing at him at any given time. I don't know how he does it. And it's probably because of how he grew up, and it's his normalcy. Like, toxicity is his normalcy. But what I predict.
Before you predict, I feel like it's that. In the beginning, it was that, and it was fun. But it's like addiction. You cross an imaginary line at some point. There's no warning, no one, and then you look like, how did I get on this side of the line? Oh God. And then it became about the money.
Right.
I think, but so what's the prediction?
It's gonna end badly. Like,
that's
real
what
bad.
I'm thinking too. And
like real bad. And I don't mean like bad, like one of them is gonna get thrown out the house one day. I mean bad because the type of violence that they have, like there was a video where she busted his head open with a glass, and I'm like, he needed stitches. Like it was a video and he was showing the back of his head and he was like, it's not even that bad. What about what you did to me? Right? And she doesn't know, not only is she being celebrated for it, applauded, paid to act that way, that's going to put a battery in her back. She also drinks, so you're not you're not in your right state of mind when you're drinking all the time. Yeah, blackout drunk. So I think it's going to end badly, and it's going to be something for the history books of networks and all of that. And I think it has to happen, unfortunately, because a lot of these networks that are coming up now are taking advantage of the toxicity in our communities, and they're getting paid hand over fist and give zero fucks. They don't care. You think the guy that owns Zeus gives a rat's damn if Chrisean and Blueface, if one of them kill each other? It's going to be more ratings for him, because if one of them gets killed, they're going to go watch the show.
Yeah, because you know who else he just signed to have another reality show?
Who?
Y'all ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Is his last name Brown? Orlando Brown?
Are you serious?
Oh my God. He's certified, man.
Okay, I see what he's doing.
You see what
he might be a bigger train wreck than Blueface and his girlfriend put together. That dude is just.
I see what he's doing. Okay.
Oh my God.
What's the next one? Jaguar, right?
Yes.
Just put them all in the house and let them kill each other.
Might as well.
Yes. Like, how can you have Orlando without Jaguar?
It's like that's the next natural order of, it's like this is
but let's go back to a question you asked, Lily, way in the beginning. What came first? Wait, what came first? The chicken or the egg? Is it what people want to see or what they're pushing? Because now you can't blame white people for pushing it because black people are pushing it.
You gotta vote with your view. So every time you like a video on YouTube, you like something on social media, you're actually voting in that instance. And then when you watch that show, you're actually voting with your money at that point. The advertisers, like even the ads that play before your video starts, like someone is voting by sitting there watching that, having their IP go straight to the ad person, letting them know, okay, they like this video, therefore we're going to keep pushing ads to this type of person. So yeah, you're voting without even realizing it in some of these instances. And then the other instances, you're voting with your money on top of it. So you got to follow the money, and you got to follow what people are actually doing and watching online. If people suddenly, as a group, just said, you know what, we're not watching this anymore, they would change what they're actually showing. All those shows would be cut down or shut down in a day. I mean, we've seen how social media can have someone's career gone, job terminated, life changed with just people messaging. So yeah, if people are going to keep voting on this, it's going to keep happening. And like you said, until something horrible happens, which ultimately it will in this case.
And then somebody
I have no doubt
in the chat earlier about, I can't remember, but they was pretty much saying something like in the vein of advertisers not wanting to be involved with that type of show on Zoom.
I think George asked, did advertisers pull their ads? I don't know what advertisers are on Zeus. I don't watch Zeus. I wouldn't download Zeus.
Me either. I can't bring myself to do it. But what I will say, just knowing that these people are capitalists first. They don't. They pretend to have moral high ground,
right?
Just like Adidas didn't want to get rid of Kanye. You see, they're struggling right now, right? They did it because of the pressure. They didn't want to get rid of Kanye. Just stuff like that. And so, I'm willing to bet, out of all of the shows on Zeus, that show has the most advertisements and the highest paid advertisements. It's just capitalism. This country is ultra capitalist, and there is no moral high ground. That's gone. It's just completely gone at this point.
Well, the owner of Zeus Network claims, he was on the Breakfast Club, and he claims, but I asked a couple people in the biz, and they was like, that's bullshit, no way. But I don't know. You don't know. But according to the owner of Zeus, he said they're almost at $1 billion. The network is worth.
Evaluation?
That's what he said on the Breakfast Club.
It has to be valuation, if that.
Exactly.
And my friend was like, there's no way. And I was like, all right, you know more than me. I don't know.
No.
You know what I mean? Go ahead, Lee.
No, evaluation, I can see him stretching that evaluation, but like liquid or just period, no.
There ain't no liquid. It's
No.
just liquid. That's impossible. They just literally just came out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So liquid, like no. It's. But I will say this to Brand's point. If advertisers, I don't see why advertisers would pull out, because the perception that continues to be allowed to proliferate is that Black degeneracy is the brand that we are, you know what I mean, that we are allowing as a community to be put in the forefront. We're not, we can sit here and kick and scream and so on and so forth when it's convenient, such as when these, put it this way, this perception of us, it's all fun and games just as long as we're able to benefit from it, or we're able to indulge in the fuckery and so on and so forth. But the moment that it's used and weaponized against us, that is the moment where we're saying that, oh, this isn't fair. These white people are letting these caricatures and these perceptions, they're pushing it on us. I'm like, no one's pushing anything on you. No one pushed you to go to to Magic City, my friend. You're there, putting your money in chicks in the BBL, G strings and so on and so forth. You're not being brainwashed. Let's keep it real. I know it's fun to say these things, and it's cool to say these things when the heat is on you. And trust me, when I'm very sure when the black owners of these particular networks that are pushing the degeneracy, I'm sure at some point in time when the heat gets too thick, they're gonna jump on the whataboutism train real fast, and they're gonna try to lean on the fact that, well, this is all we know because white people have conditioned us to believe that only we can actually sell the degeneracy. See, most black people are not independent thinkers. When they're in the hot seat, it's easier to put the blame on someone else and so on and so forth, and blame the conditioning, because when you blame the conditioning, that basically infantilizes you and removes any form of accountability from you and turns you into a child.
So going back to Breezy, what do you think would help his situation, since this is like the thorn in his side that's never gonna be taken out? Like, anybody who's up and coming or has a show, up and coming next week could just use his name and throw Rihanna in there. Now, Rihanna's getting thrown in, and for Blueface to address her like, yeah, you beat the wrong bitch. Like, it's such an ugly situation.
I think if I was Chris's people, one of the people that he listened to, I tell him flat out, for the next 10 years, well until we get a Vegas residency, this is when you open your mouth. When you basically tell everyone the name of the new album. After that, get the fuck out.
Right.
Drop some heat, leave. Don't answer no fucking questions. Don't get online. Don't do whatever. Just don't engage in the bullshit. Just show up when it's time to drop product and leave. Because if you continue to show up, and this is the one thing you should never do as a man, it never goes well. Don't defend yourself. Don't defend some shit that you did. Own it. Own everything.
So that's like hold on a minute. The radical Latino in the building. What's up, hermano? Want to give Jen this little bit, loving the topic. We need more insightful discussion like this. Thank you, sir. Salute. When are we going to get you up here to have a Black and Puerto Rican coalition, non-existent coalition, but a coalition debate up in this biatch? Come on up, radical Latino. Hit me at my Gmail, on the block with Jen at Gmail. Let's do this, son. Good to see you in the building. So, Haran, so is that basically like what Star said on the Star Report, that he should have owned it completely?
Absolutely.
And gone around with the, big crocodile tears, say, yes, I whooped on her. It was what it was. I'm sorry. I apologize. Do you think he would have been more embraced today?
Look, listen, the ladies, let me ask you a question. When you have an issue with your guy, do you want to sit there
It's
You
breaking up.
breaking up.
You broke up.
and he didn't do it,
Uh-oh.
or do you just want him to get the fucking shit done?
Okay, you got to go back
Did
again.
you
It
guys
broke
just
up.
hear me? Okay, it broke up. Okay, when you have your issues with your guy, do you want to see? Do you want to hear whatever issue it is? Do you want to hear him explain why he didn't get it done, or defend his reason for not getting it done, or do you just want the motherfucker to get the fucking shit done?
Oh, I'm like that in
And make
general.
sure,
Like I'm like that
and
in
make
general.
sure that doesn't happen again, and make sure that doesn't fucking
Right.
happen
I'm like
again.
that in general. I don't want to hear why
Is
it didn't
that what you
happen.
want?
Just yes, that's what I want.
Yeah, because that is subconsciously that's what people want from men.
Hmm.
No one wants to hear, well, she had to, well, well, that night. No. I did it. Yeah, it was me. Yo, you know what? Fucked up. This will not happen again. I got people, you know what I mean? I changed my circle, yada, yada, so on and so forth. Let's move on. Nobody wants to hear all that other shit about, you know what I mean? What about white people and all this other shit?
Yeah, I thought
You
that was the
ducking
wrong
and
move on
hiding,
his part. I think that I
you
thought
ducking and
that.
hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares, you know what I mean? Because guess what? Yeah. What about white people? Yeah, you might have a point, but nobody cares because ain't nobody gonna do anything because they're white people. You can't
Right. Yeah,
fucking,
I thought that was
take that
whack.
power from them. Like you can't take that power away from them. Unless you can do something, don't mention a motherfucker.
That's the
Concentrate
same
on
thing.
you.
That's the same thing Tasha K tried to pull with the Cardi B situation.
Mm-hmm.
She got on talking about the machine and the white people. This
Oh, nobody gives a rat's ass about that shit.
You told a bold-faced lie on this woman. She sued you. She won. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Like nobody, when you got bills to pay, the bill collectors don't want to hear about your fucking story. They don't give a fuck if you got the Rona. They don't give a fuck if your mama died 5 minutes ago. They'd be like, sir, Mr. DeMarco, when can we expect payment? That is the answer that they're looking for. When
But do
can we
you think,
expect payment?
as much as we love Riri, Queen Riri, do you think that she's playing both sides of the fence here?
Of course she is.
Do you think
Of
that
course
she
she
should
is.
come out? I think she should come out and speak on his behalf, but I think she doesn't want the heat of all of them because she became a full-blown domestic violence victim during that time.
Yes.
Remember, she was
And
on a
she
domestic
capitalized off of
violence
it.
tour.
She capitalized off that
She was
shit.
going show to show to talk about, her being a victim of domestic violence. And I think it was a mutual domestic violence relationship. But I feel like with all the power she has and all the money, and people are going to worship her no matter the fuck what. If you laid with that man after that incident, she should defend him. Now, again, if she never spoke to him again, that's different, right? We're like Evelyn Lozada and Chad Ochocinco, even though, again, Evelyn is a very violent woman. Now, one would say, well, it doesn't matter it does matter. It matters if the woman is a violent woman who tends to fight men. It matters.
It does.
It matters, right?
It does, because you can bring something out of a guy who doesn't tend to fight women.
Right. So I'm like, it matters. So, and that's why what happened with Evelyn Lozada when she got her head bust open, what was the first thing they were saying?
I was there.
Right.
I said they were fighting. She probably hit him first. Like, knowing
Right.
Evelyn, like, she jumps across tables. Like, so yeah. But I'm with you on that. And in addition to that, I think Chris, when they got back into good graces and she was all in her nostalgia bag, hey babe, before I stick this dick in you, you mind going to see Barbara Walters?
I agree.
I
agree. Because if he was good enough to sleep with again, if he was good enough to collab with on a song again, then yeah.
My other point with that was,
No, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just gonna say really quick. He's been in other relationships since. So if he was that bad, how was he getting in these other relationships? And some of them I think were long term yet. And then he had children right after all of that. So it's not like people were avoiding him or, trying to demonize him in that way. He was still able to do the same things he was going to do before. So I'm not blaming the women who were in the relationship after. I'm saying if they vetted him enough to, you're covering your face. I'm saying,
I mean,
like,
because it's just like, all these women are very guilty of the same thing. Women know when men ain't shit. Like, I mean, women know when men ain't shit, but they still climb into bed with them.
But I don't
Look,
like,
man.
okay, but I don't like when they say, this is just my opinion, right?
Mhm.
And the women are going to be like, but I don't like when they call him a woman beater.
yeah, I don't agree
Right,
with
right.
that. Especially
I
if
don't,
you
I don't
know
agree with that.
true.
Because a woman beater is a woman beater, and everybody gonna show up. And they were like, "Yeah, but Karuchi Tran had to get order protection." I was like, "Yeah, but Karuchi didn't come on." And it's like, "Oh, my arm, my face, maybe she just wanted him the hell away from her, which is fine." And he
You
wasn't
see,
staying away.
Jen, I want to speak on that right there. That is a situation where a person can be a particular way or might have done something, and society just brands this person, what I mean, with this extreme moniker. Like, for instance, like a motherfucker don't consistently text you every goddamn morning. Oh, he's a narcissist. Like, no, miss, that's not a narcissist.
I'm noticing that. I swear, I'm
That's not a
noticing that too.
narcissist.
I'm like,
You know
whoa!
what I
And
mean?
I studied
Yeah.
narcissism, so I was like, how did
Right?
we get there?
That's not a narcissist, baby. It's a
How
little
did
bit more
we get
complex than
there?
that. This
It's so
guy
true.
probably got some
Everybody's
shit
a
going on.
narcissist now.
He's probably a busy man. That's just what it
Every man is a narcissist now.
Every man is a
Everybody
fucking
calm
narcissist.
down. Calm
You know
down.
what I mean?
It's so true. Everybody's a narcissist.
but guess what though? This shows just how ill-equipped they are to understand the concept of narcissism, because love bombing is an act of a lot of narcissists.
Yes.
That's
But
how
a
it
lot of
starts.
these girls,
A lot of
That's
guys
how
say
it
that's how it starts.
yeah, but a lot of these girls, they indulge in that shit. They can't get enough of that shit. No, he's a good guy then. No, sweetie, he's probably a narcissist.
But
he's just pulling
that
you
goes,
in. You know what I mean?
that goes back to the age thing, because I remember being young and thinking that jealousy was a sign of like, oh my God, he really likes me. Like he just threatened my life because he couldn't reach you on the phone.
But I will say this. I will say this. Love bombing, right? Love bombing is a lure. It's not something that a woman's gonna. If someone's treating you good, why would you be? Why would he be a suspect to you? It doesn't make sense. If I'm being good, if I meet you around and I'm being good to you, like, oh, let me do your laundry and let me this and blah, 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 you're just going to be like, shit, this feel good. Fuck, go do my laundry. And that's what love bombing is. That's what men do to women. And usually the reason why they get in so good with women is because the majority of men don't do that. They don't operate that way. And that's the hook, that it's usually the first man that ever loves on you like that. Not loves you for real, but loves on you. And it's like, it blows your mind. You're like,
so true.
Oh my God, he's cutting my steak and running my bath water and putting my coat on and asking me, it's mind blowing. And the narcissist knows that men don't do that. So that's how they get in, and they get you, boy. It's
Yes,
like the
they do.
freaking, it's the thing in Aliens that attaches to your face and goes down your throat. That's how deep it is. Look at No Saint visiting. Hey, No Saint.
Hey, how's everybody doing? What we're talking about tonight?
Oh, you all late. You late as hell. Chris Brown versus someone you never heard of, Blueface versus our hypocrisy.
I will
I like
admit to
that.
one thing, though. I will admit to one thing, especially during my younger years. I have some narcissistic qualities.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I have
Oh
some.
no.
See, but here's the thing. In my studies, but here's the thing.
At least act shocked. Shit.
No, but here's the thing, and this is why people get confused, and this is why the word is thrown around so loosely. Everyone has narcissistic traits. Everyone's not a narcissist.
Yes, exactly.
But everyone has narcissistic traits, and it's on the rise.
Especially if you're an entertainer, we have to.
Yes.
Of course. I have to a degree. I have to have ego. I have to, because I have to exist in the spotlight. I have to have this inflated sense of self to some degree. Now is it to the point where I'm just this you know what I mean, where I'm just literally a vampire. No, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. There's some elements of humanity, you know what I mean, in me, and so on and so forth. But yes, to your point, yes, as artists, we have to have a degree of ego in order to create great work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at Kobe, look at how he used to talk about himself and his ability. Was he a narcissist? No. You have to have, so it can get tricky. But narcissistic personality disorder, that's a whole different person.
I remember Shaq said some funny shit about Kobe. I remember Shaq said some funny shit about Kobe at his at the ceremony that they were doing. And Shaq said to Kobe, he was like, "Yo, Kobe, man, after the game, he was like, yo, Kobe, there's no I in team." And Kobe was like, "Yeah, but there's an ME in that motherfucker though." And I was like, this sounds like some shit I'd say, because it's just like there comes a point in time where you just like, man, just give me this shit. Let me just do this shit myself.
We have to have a narcissism night. We'll do a topic the whole night and talk about it. And I'll invite some people over who are pros. There's this guy I follow on Instagram who's a self-admitted narcissist, which is mind blowing because half the time they don't know they are, or they won't admit that they are. But this guy's a self-admitted narcissist, and he has a lot of pointers of what we should look out for. And we can come up here and talk about our experiences. But every bad relationship doesn't mean that you were with a narcissist. There's such a thing as assholes and cheaters, and
right,
and that's all they do.
Or maybe it was just you. Maybe it was just you.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't take the time. Not everybody, but a lot of people just don't take the time to consider that maybe it was just you.
And I was that person. Like I've said it before. I had to look up one day and be like, hold up. It's me. I'm the toxic one. I'm like, you can insert Jesus in this spot, and I'm gonna find a way to fuck it up because, like, it was me at the time,
See, long as we can admit it, it's fine and help other people.
Right.
It feels good to just admit. Hi, No Saint. You all at the end.
Are you driving?
Hey, listen. I'm loving the blue dress. From what I can see, it's a small picture. It looks really nice.
Thank you. It's a little top.
Oh, nice. And then I see Lily and she's got her blonde wig on.
Gwen Stefani blonde and Gwen Stefani red lip.
All right. And Haran's got the Superman shirt, right?
Yeah.
Somebody got to save us. Somebody got to
tell you something. Yeah. I gotta tell you something.
Somebody got to do
it. That gives me goosebumps more than the intro to 1978 Superman when they're playing that music and those words come across. And it's like Marlon Brando and all that stuff just starts, and that music starts getting going, man. I can listen to that. Every once in a while, I'll just throw that on, just watch it. And I'm just like, oh, man.
It's really funny that you should say that, because the composer of that is John Williams, who happens to be one of my favorite composers. He's one
of the best composers of our generation, for sure.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Very much so. He made the Star Wars theme, the Back to the Future. No, not the Back to the Future theme. Excuse me.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. He made Indiana Jones. Just a plethora of just great stuff.
Close Encounter of the Third Kind. I mean, it's just like Schindler's List.
The Schindler's List one was absolutely amazing. But let's not geek out on turn this into some major geek shit.
It's like a Superman shirt.
I'm like, go ahead and take over the show with the geek shit. All right, I'll just sit my vote. I mean, we're at the end anyway.
Yeah, what I mean? Like, I can go on all day about John Williams and so on.
Listen, I wasn't serious about that, Haran.
No, I know. I was just ending it off with that.
I wasn't serious. But I'm glad to see No Saint, because George could come out for a little bit. He was like, "Who the hell, Blueface and Brown and Chrisean? I'm out."
I'll pass.
George was in the chat for a little bit. He tried to hang on. He asked some good questions, and then he was like, "All right, guys, good night." I was like, "Good night, George."
Speaking of George, I know I sent Jen the video. I found me a little dominatrix on Bourbon Street today.
Yeah, he sure did.
Oh,
He
I got
sure
a
did.
video of me and the dominatrix. I wonder if it's the same one though, saying I'm gonna send it to you. She was whooping my ass.
Oh,
Yeah, she was. I got the video. I got the proof. I'll send it to you all.
And Jen, check this out.
Okay.
She could have done this. She could have got. I'm sitting there. I'm saying, hey, can I get a picture with you? She's like, yeah, $5. I'm like,
oh,
I said $5. She's like $20. I said, okay, I'll get you $5. She's like $10. So I give you $5. She said, I'm just playing with you. I said, you can actually charge $5. People will pay that, you know.
Right.
I said, yeah, I'm just
I'm like,
messing with you. I'm just messing.
She's cheap because let me tell you, in Vegas, they damn near, and in Times Square, they try to get them $20 off.
Yes,
of you.
they do.
I can imagine. Oh yeah, especially in Times Square.
They try to get them 20. That's why they moved them to a certain section. Actually, didn't they move all them girls to a certain section?
Yep.
I'm like, because I wasn't a fan. Like their asses are out. Like, what if I want to go to Times Square with my grandbaby? You out there with your ass and titties out, titties hanging.
I'm a fan.
Oh no,
I'm a fan.
It was like that. Like I would come home from work sometimes, and they was out there heavy. All they had
with
on
the
was
tits
body
out.
paint.
Yeah.
All they had on was body paint.
I don't think that.
Like
No,
that.
I don't like that for Times Square. I don't like that.
No, not for the babies. It was just time.
Not for the babies, right?
For me, it was a great sight to see on after work and shit. Like, oh yeah, hey, this is a party.
Okay, Brianna's leaving. Brianna's leaving. We're closing anyway. We're almost at the 2. We're almost at the 2 hours.
All right, yeah, let's close it off.
Yeah, this was short and sweet. It was a good one. No Saint made it last minute. I'm sure we will have to revisit this topic because Blueface and Chrisean, I'm telling you, it's gonna end badly. And I feel bad for them, but we see the van coming.
Of course.
We see the van coming.
The public is done with them, after everybody's done with them, we're just gonna move on.
You see the dominatrix lady? She was trying to sit there.
I'm seeing them.
Is that the lady? No say?
You know what? I can't leave right now, but
It's not the same one.
Is that the same one?
Mm-mm. That lady's black, right? Is she black? Because the one. Okay, so No Saint is the one. No Saint has obviously white. She was obviously white.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I don't wish bad on anybody, but I'm saying we've seen the news stories. We've seen how it ends. So I guess that's the point I wanted to make. Like, I understand that you can want the best for somebody, but they got to want the best for themselves too. So
absolutely.
When I look at any situation like this, like taking away from them for a second, if you look at the history of what these couples have done, the outcome is almost always the same. Someone's very, very hurt or someone loses their life. So, we're just seeing it in a more detailed way than we've ever seen before in history. And I think that's the sad part about it. It's being monetized. It's being shown for views. It's being shown for entertainment. And nothing like this in history has ever happened quite on this scale. So that's what I wanted to add. I really hope these young people get it together. They have all these resources, all this money, but it's not going towards getting this help. Yeah.
Hi, hubby. He just walked in. Did hubby just walk in? Hi, hubby. It's like, all right, wrap it up. Bunny needs some milk.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Wrap it up.
It's hilarious.
Y'all are too cute, I swear.
Good night, Rianne. We love you. You already know.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. And that was such a great point that Brianne said, because remember, I talk about social media like that, where it's happening in real time. This is all new to us, and we're a part of this history. Like, we're going to look back on this and be like, remember when the social media explosion just happened? But it is.
Speaking of which, I have a question. When she said it, it made me think of something, because there's something that my mentors always said. But I'm like, damn, it used to be true. But let me ask you all, has it been flipped? She always says, for everything a person allows you to see, just know there's at least 10 more things that they're not allowing you to see.
Well,
right?
damn.
So if I was thinking that at first, like, wow, I can imagine what's going on behind closed doors. But then I'm like, well, maybe can we flip it? Because it's being monetized, so they're gonna make sure we see the worst. And that was just going on in general, not just with them, but is like society making sure that you see the most salacious and the worst stuff, like, you know.
Oh, Lily, that's a great point, because I worked a gig, and I'm sometimes I'm too much of a perfectionist, and I'm like, the light has to be this, then make sure clear the background. And they were like, no, we have the studies, the videos on TikTok that do the best of the ones with the messy backgrounds. So the more you can ratchet it up, the more unprofessional it looks, the more disheveled you look, which is hard for me because, you know, sometimes I like being cute. But that's why these girls that look busted, their hair is messed up, they're in the bonnets, the weave is hanging halfway off. That's why they get so many views. The ones that make funny faces and get ugly, they get so many views because it's more attractive to the masses, where people like us, it's like, you're untouchable, you're too clean cut, you're too whatever, we can't relate. So they love the Cardi B's with the jacked up teeth and the snots and, you know, one titty bigger than another. Look, my titty hang, look at all this acne. Because they can relate to a lot more people. So you're absolutely right. The worse it is, the better it is for this era that we're going into.
It's so funny you should say this, because one of my production dudes, he and I were sitting down, we were having a conversation, and it was just like this. And we came from a different era. We came from an era of because I was talking about the project and so on, Jen. And because he was asking when I'm coming out to London, and we were going back and forth, and we were saying how the way we came up, you polished the record. You know what I mean? You polished the record. You were polished, like everyone sees. You know, I remember. You know what I mean? Our recollection of Michael Jackson is this untouchable musical force that would just like damn near look at, you know what I mean, behave as if he walked on water and so on and so forth. But nobody really knows about the times when he missed a few steps and Joe was whipping his ass and shit like that. You know what I mean? That is not chronicled and so on, or a time when Whitney's voice might have cracked, or where Prince might have missed a note and so on and so forth. They were not given to the public until they were polished to some degree. Of course, they evolved and improved, but it wasn't presented to you until it was ready.
Yeah, not no more.
Not no more. It's just a motherfucker just starts, and I guess you just see the evolution of the person. You know what I mean? Because Cardi B now, when you look at her now, she's nothing like what she was visually before when she was on Love and Hip Hop. She was heavier. She had like so much less surgery. You know what I mean?
Her teeth were really bad. Her teeth were horrible.
Her teeth were fucked up. You know what I mean? And shit like that. And even Glorilla, like when you see her now, she looks.
She got new teeth.
She got new teeth.
It was like overnight for her, literally overnight.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
but her teeth, she got them too big. She could barely close her mouth.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? That's but you know, the point of the matter is that I guess people want to see the evolution. They don't. If you just show up and you're the shit, motherfuckers are just like, what the fuck can I do with that? And for us, I guess it kind of is a strange thing, but in a way, what we're doing right now is kind of an example of that, because you know, by growing organically, you know what I mean, with the brand and showing up for the show and so on and so forth, in a way, yeah, you know, people can still see the growth. People can still see, you know what I mean, because there was a time when nobody was camming up with Jen. You know what I mean? There was a time where, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was hell. That was, I mean, it was hell. Like, it would be me by myself and everybody behind a fucking avatar. And I was like, I bet you 2023, I was like, I'm putting my foot down. Fuck all y'all.
Yeah, I love
it. And things did change, though. Yeah. When people started showing their faces more, things change. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, certain things, you know what I mean, we threw out there, yada yada, and you know, we're still learning about each other and learning how everything works and finding a rhythm. But it makes sense though, because it's about the journey. It's still the journey, but it's a different way. You know what I mean? Because for us, the journey was the person was ready and packaged and given to us. But the journey for us was the albums. The journey for us were the movies. The journey for us is like, okay, this person, the work that they were actually presenting to us. That was the journey. And we saw the evolution in that way. Now they just want to see the entire thing. You know what I mean? To
Well,
when
you know
you
what,
when you're in a 1-bedroom apartment and you're fucked up and all kinds of shit.
But you know what? I tell people all the time, that's actually what you just said is the exact analogy that I use for people when I explain to them about my social media growth. When they ask me like, how did you do it? What's the da 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 da? And I tell them slow growth is way better than fast growth. And I'm present on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, okay? Facebook was first. So they were the people who saw me come from nothing and grew with me. So they're so invested in my stuff that if I drop a lip gloss line right now, it's going to sell out, even if they wear lip gloss or not, right? Then you got Instagram that's in the middle, right? And theirs is a little different. And then I got Twitter, which I grew overnight. I bet you if I try to sell something on, and I got the most followers on Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, TikTok. I have the most followers on there by far, but I bet you I will sell like a quarter of the stuff on there as opposed to like Facebook, just because of they're looking at me like, oh, you already got it. Like, whatever.
It's more invested. They were more invested. You know, it's another an example. It's for movies in terms of franchises. It's the MCU versus like DC. Like the MCU, like people like
wait a minute. You see that bicep? Hold on a minute now. That's all right. Go ahead, girl. Just say it. Fuck around if you want to. You find out over here, bitch.
They with the MCU, you know, it started out with like Robert Downey Jr. and that whole 10-year, you know, storyline or 12-year storyline, you know, and it transforming into this billion-dollar franchise. You know, it worked amazingly well for them. You know, you might not ever see another franchise like that ever again. And they were able to, you know, influence so many other, you know, other franchises and brands, as opposed to like DC, who always tried to just cram everything down real fast and see where it goes, and it didn't work for them. You know, so it's this thing where, yes, I'm understanding more and more that there's still the journey. There's still the story, but it's told in a different way. And it's all about the connection. Like people do want connections and so on and so forth. And that's essentially it.
All right. And we got to do a show like how we started and stuff. Because my story is funny, how I got my background and all that shit.
Oh yeah, let's do a
pretty funny story, right?
Like to take the people through our journey, because that'd be very inspirational.
Yeah, and they could do it. I'm telling everybody, listen, my last sentiments before we close is get started, because you're going to regret it. I regret that I didn't start a YouTube channel 10 years ago. All these motherfuckers running around with 200,000 subscribers. If you go to their about section and you see when they started, a motherfucker started in 2000, 2009. That's how they got. I mean, we're catching up though. We're doing pretty good. I'm already I hit 4,000 the other day. Now I'm up to 4,100, but it's organic. And I like that it's organic, you know, because people they invest in you, right? And just because you go viral doesn't mean you can maintain after you go viral, right?
So I broke into a piano hall and taught myself how to play.
It's a curse. I know.
See?
I've known a lot of people to go viral. And when I tell you the depression that comes with not being able to, like
it's like being a one-hit wonder. And the problem with a one-hit wonder when it's not music is nobody gives a fuck.
Yes.
See, Aha can sing "Take on Me" till the end of time, right? But you can't repeat that gluing your hair with monkey glue. You can't repeat that. You can't repeat it.
I forgot all about her, man. I forgot all about her.
That's Louisiana.
Actually, always every time I put my lashes on, I'm like, "Where's the Gorilla Glue?"
Exactly. You can't repeat that. That's why it's best. That's why it's funny. But people don't know business, and they live in a microwave.
Hold on, Max. She could have
And they
did a
live
crazy
in
little
a
commercial.
in a microwave society. So they're like, you only got 4,000 subs. I'm like, yeah, bitch, and you watching me too.
With no subs.
Like because you came here. Every click matters.
But that's a lot of
Every
subs, though, if you kind
single
of think.
click.
Like,
It is from starting from
average.
nothing.
Right. Like,
And we don't slap each other down up here. Well,
right. Like,
every now and then somebody needs a.
Well, and YouTube has the toughest algorithm to break through. Understand that too. They have the toughest one, so that's saying a hell of a lot.
Right. Well, I did it with you guys for sure. Thank you so much, Big Elvis the Chef Rosenberg. Good to see you, sir. Make sure you come back when we are up and running. We're about to close. But listen, we can share a lot of good information and how we make things look like more than what I should. I'll tell you what $10 stores I shop at. I'm not playing. I'm not ashamed. I do not like spending money. I'm super, super frugal. Super frugal. Okay. And I'm cynical. I am very cynical about labels, fashion labels. I'm very cynical about giving people my money. Like I'm frugal. People would be probably shocked. Like, she high maintenance. No, the fuck. I'm not. I get insulted if you try to sell me a shirt more than $10.
Oh,
I'm
me
like,
too.
Why do I need to pay 15?
The average price of these shoes back here, and most of them are name brand. I think the average price, and you're gonna think I'm lying, is about $10.
Yeah,
and
no, I believe it because there are ways. No, I believe it because there's ways to do it. Yeah. So, we could talk about that.
Then that's very funny because
this right here is not even a scarf. This is part of a workout top that I had. It comes with like a sports bra, and this was the hanging part. I cut it off, and it matched this shirt, and I said, "Here we go."
My girl. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
It's a top. It's top.
Whatever the hell you wanted to be in that moment on
that day. Right.
That makes sense. I do. It's so funny you should say that, Jim, because I wanted to do a video sometime in the future, though. One of the things that I'm hearing a lot with the music that's going on right now is that a lot of the stuff sounds very polished, but a lot of these producers and musicians don't really sound like they have their own voice. Everyone kind of sounds like each other.
Yeah.
And I wanted to actually do a couple of videos on actually having how to basically find your own vision and your own voice musically.
But you could do that. You could do that now. Start that now. Start that now.
And we were supposed to do a show about this, though. Haran wasn't on that night, but we said we didn't want to get into that topic because he wasn't on, but we was going to make it a topic. So we do got to come back and talk about the music thing and like how the change in music, like what the difference between today and when you had the plethora of talented people, because you're right, Haran, everyone's the same now.
Right.
Yeah. We'll do it. We'll do it. But if we keep talking, we're going into 3 hours, and I'm not doing 3 hours. I'm not doing 3 hours. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about how we all do what we do for pennies on the dollar. David Dillon, of course, keeping it real. I don't give a damn. These people don't. I don't give a damn. Listen. If you don't like that, this is a T-shirt. You could go on where do I get my turbans? You Go Natural. Go to yougonatural.com and you buy me a turban. Yeah, but I'm gonna wear my T-shirt. I'm gonna wear my tank on my head. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah, y'all know y'all would still smash and take me out and try to offer me coffee.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
You still want me to drink your coffee. All right, cut it out.
You already know.
Knock it off. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm excited, Lily. I want to make a nice little screening event for your film. I want to do it next week, but I want us to plug it for like a week because I want to get as many people in here because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of what's going on the timelines. I'm sick of it. I'm fully sick of it. And I want to have a real discussion on it. And I know people are probably like, what is she sick of? I'm just sick of I don't like using the word homophobia because people are like, it's not a phobia. But it's just whatever, the bias, whatever word, the ignorance, the bias, the whatever it is. I'm sick of selective outrage. I'm sick of it's one thing like Jonathan Majors and then we'll close. But it's like, people are like posting him and, I saw a post of him where he was on a couch and someone attached "I'm every woman" to it, like trying to say he's gay because the man is sitting on a couch in a pink. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And here's the thing that really aggravates my soul is that men constantly bashing women don't realize, and men constantly bashing people who are gay don't realize that they are cultivating and perpetuating a world that their families and children are growing up in. And guess what? Gay is not contagious. Okay, gay is not contagious. So if your child is gay, remember that you spend decades, all right, bashing gay people, and now your child is in that world. But I'm not going to get into it now because you know how I get. So we will save it for after screening your movie, and we'll have an in-depth conversation, and hopefully Shelly will come back and talk about her child and things like that. But it's gonna get deep that day, and that's why I want to promote it. I don't want it to be a fly by night, like, you know, I throw the thumbnail up the same day and then do the show. I want people to really come and have an honest discussion about this because I'm sick of it. I'm sick.
Me too.
I'm tired of it. And you said something to me that. And you said something to me that really, really touched me that I didn't realize, Lily. And I was like, that's fucked up.
Oh yeah, that's a reality.
That's like, it's something you don't think about because it's not your existence.
Right.
And that's fucked up to walk around with that burden and that shit. We'll talk about it. We'll talk.
Definitely have to talk about that part.
We'll talk about it. We'll make it a whole thing, and invite the usual people, the usual suspects, and whoever else wants to come up, and we'll explain. I'll see if Tyra Vera could come back as well too.
Yeah.
All right,
got some
guys.
people I'll invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else want to say anything before we close on this Saturday night? Hi, No Saint.
I got nothing.
Hi, No Saint. It was so nice you came by, even though you were in the car.
Yeah, I had to come in.
So sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to say something. I really do enjoy doing these things with you all. I kind of contemplated the idea of going down the creative route again with a group of people because, as like the two of you, I have war story upon fucking war story of people who flake, money spent, throats I had to fucking wrap my fucking hands around. You know what I mean? Literally and figuratively.
And the worst one, time wasted.
Yes. So I was kind of sometimes on the fence about it. But I said to myself, I was like, you know what, man? Whatever happens on the other side of this shit, because I was ready to just walk away from music, period. And there was a time when I did. It was a time when I did, where I was just going to put all of it behind me, and I wasn't even talking about it that much more. You know what I mean? Like and it was a lot, but there was a lot behind it. But I will say this really fast and really quick. As an artist, you are always reminded that. Is anyone a John Wick fan?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like John Wick spent the whole fucking series telling himself that he's retired, but deep down, he never really was, because he is who he is. And as an artist, you can try to walk away from that shit as much as you want. You know what I mean? And tell yourself that I'm going to go live this life of just, normalcy, and this never happened and blah, blah, blah. But that itch, it never leaves. That itch, it never leaves. And you're always commenting on something like, nah, they didn't do it that way. And you should have did it this way. And you realize that you can never, ever, ever in life run away from who you truly are.
No, it's a lifetime relationship, and we're just wired this way. Yes. We're wired this way. This is how we are.
I always tell people, I do what I've always been doing. I've just figured out a way to monetize it.
Right.
Like, this is me, whether the camera, like, this is me in my house by myself.
Right.
So people was like, you do know you can monetize that, right? I'm like,
and I'm like, I'm here because, I just got tired of hearing it on Facebook. They were constantly, you need a podcast, you need a show. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have people constantly telling me. And I say, you know what? All right. I'll fucking do it. And here y'all are. Mwah, one big happy, crazy ass orphanage. Crazy ass orphanage.
That's pretty much what it is.
But you gotta find you'll find your tribe. You put yourself out there, and we've seen the people that we've gained along the way, right? Because everybody's looking for their tribe, and I still say we have the most diverse panel I've ever seen on YouTube. We even had a little person up here. Okay,
That's right. That's right.
the most, and I love it. I love it. My daughter used to make fun of me. She was like, "You need an island." And every time we met someone weird, my daughter would be like, "He's for your island, isn't he?" And I was like, "He's coming to the island."
Yes,
He's
all
going
the
to
weirdos, all the
the misfits, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Misfit Island.
Yes,
That's me. That's where I belong.
Give me the misfits. That's my tribe.
All the broken toys. All right, guys, on that note, we are out of here, and we will see you, I guess, on Tuesday. Lily, am I seeing you on Monday?
You sure enough going to see me on Monday. We hanging out all day down to the Vegas.
Mm-hmm. All right, so listen, get ready for some videos, guys, because Lily's coming out to Vegas on Monday. So we're going to harass y'all. We're going to be it's going to be off the block in Vegas.
And I'm coming out just to see Jen, so we're going to be a mess.
All right. Okay.
No, you know what's funny? I was telling my friend, I was like, oh, Lily's coming out. And he was like, from New York? And I was like, what happened? Like all the way out from New York? I was like, yes.
Oh, he
like,
must not know me. That's just how I roll.
Right. I was like, no, Lily said she just jumps on a flight. She's out. So
that's me.
All right. So Monday should be juicy. Let's see what we can get into on a Monday in Vegas. We'll figure it out.
All right. I ain't got no money. Just in case y'all,
you ain't gonna bail us out.
Trouble. Just in case y'all get
you better call No Saint.
No Saint.
Exactly.
Everybody got it
right now.
I need some privilege, No Saint.
Exactly.
Everybody got to chip in. Everybody got to chip in.
Man. I got 100 for you.
Everybody got to chip in.
Please.
Right? Got to promise George a spanking. We need to get out of prison, George.
Right.
We need to get out, George. All right, guys, we're out of here. This is getting crazy.
All right. Oh, good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. All right, guys, if you're still here for any reason, enjoy the show, hit me with a like and a subscribe. If you're here for the first time, hi, hello, new subby. Hit that sub for me. Don't forget. On the Block with Jen on all social media platforms, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Facebook. And if you want to contact me, on the Block with Jen at Gmail. Let's go 2023. I'm so excited about 2023. I know that was random, but I got some stuff coming up. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it as much as On the Block with Jen. And we will see you here, I think Tuesday. I don't really like doing Mondays unless something is popping on the news. So I will see you guys on Tuesday. Don't forget, if you want to support this show, On the Block with Jen, Cash App if you're catching the replay. Thank you so much for holding me down in the chat. Good night, guys. And I'm out.